What's up, you guys? Thank you so much for clicking back onto my channel. Now, as you guys can tell from the title of this video, I'm gonna discuss with you my journey from being skinny to being fit. I discussed this very briefly in my fitness journey video that I posted. That was a video that Kyle and I have been working on since like December, and Kyle was gonna do one, but he's just had way too much going on that it just wasn't the time for him to put one together. So I decided to release mine, and I want to thank you guys all for your positive feedback and continuous support that I got from that video. I was very nervous to put that video out there, but I didn't really talk about too much about this side of my fitness journey. I talked more so about how fitness has shaped me to be an entrepreneur. So fitness has played a big role in allowing me to be an online coach, but it's also helped me in a different way as well. So I kind of want to discuss that today. So from being skinny to being fit. When I grew up extremely skinny my entire life. I grew up in an Italian family, so I was surrounded by food all the time. Anything you could think of, lasagna, pasta, desserts, all that kind of stuff that my nonna would make all the time. And I always ate it. I never was scared to eat food. I just grew up having a really fast metabolism. I think a lot of it comes from genetics when you were a kid and your activity level. I played every sport under the sun when I was a kid. I played soccer, I was in competitive dance, track and field, figure skating, I played hockey all the time. I played a lot of sports and I was always very athletic, so I think that contributed a lot to my metabolism being so fast because of how active I was. I wasn't sitting around playing video games on the computer, and we had computers when I was a kid, like there was MSN. Holy fuck, totally just aged myself. But most of my time was spent playing sports and stuff like that. So I grew up being very skinny. I remember being in elementary school and my friends' parents would say to me, "Krysten, you need to put meat on those bones." I wasn't obsessed with how I looked and how skinny I was until other people started making me aware of it. And I started to hear that a lot as I was growing up, not just from my friends, but from their parents and from my grandparents. So being in an Italian family, even though I ate a lot, to my grandma, it wasn't a lot of food, and she always thought that I didn't eat enough. Even to this day, she'll tell you that I don't eat a lot of food, and that's just the perception that they have. So this definitely made entering high school very difficult because I started to become more conscious of how I looked and more insecure with how I looked. So by the time I got into high school, I definitely became very aware with how skinny I was, and it was very difficult when I was probably one of the skinniest girls in my grade, so that made it very difficult going throughout high school as well. I mean, it's your typical story. I think a lot of girls go through this in high school, and high school can be very difficult as your body's changing and stuff like that, but I continued to be skinny throughout all of high school. I didn't gain any weight. I was always very skinny, my arms were very, very small, and I was constantly told all the time that you need to put meat on your bones, you're too skinny, you don't look healthy, you look anorexic. I was told this all the time while already having to deal with insecurities of just being a girl going through puberty in high school. So yeah, high school really wasn't the greatest time of my life at all. I think the only thing that I really enjoyed in high school was being on the basketball team, because it was the one thing that I was always good at, was just being an athlete, and it was just a good distraction from everything. Being on the basketball team allowed me to be good at something, so it really helped me cope, let's just say. So by the time I was done high school and I went to apply for the university team, you can imagine it being devastating that the one thing that I had in high school, I was told basically you can't continue it because of your size. You're too skinny, you're too small, we need some bigger girls on the team. So I think that's kind of when I maybe hit my, not really rock bottom, but that's when I felt my most insecure. I was still super skinny. I was done high school, didn't know what I wanted to do, and basically I was told that I wasn't able to play the sport that I love anymore because I was too skinny, which was something I was already dealing with since being a kid. So it was really difficult to pull myself out of that, but once I did, it was when I entered the weight room. So as I discussed already in my other video, I went to bodybuilding.com and found a 12-week program by Jamie Eason, and I never actually really knew anything about the sport of bodybuilding at all. I started following her on, was it Facebook? I don't think Instagram existed at the time. Yeah, I started following Jamie Eason on Facebook, and I loved how she looked. So I decided, well, you know what, I'm gonna do this 12-week program and put on a little bit of muscle, put on a little bit of size. So yeah, at first I did it for vanity reasons. I wanted to look a certain way. I wasn't happy with what I saw in the mirror, and I thought this would help, and instantly fell in love with it. The rest is history. I fell in love with bodybuilding after maybe the first few weeks of it, just seeing how your body changes, just seeing how much stronger you can get, how quickly you can get that much stronger, and the challenge of it. Because yeah, entering that weight room was scary as hell, but it's insane the amount of growth that I have developed from it by forcing myself and challenging myself to enter that weight room despite not wanting to. So yeah, I did that 12-week program and definitely put on a little bit of size. Not a whole lot, but it was enough to where I was addicted and I wanted to keep going. And this is when the comments started to change from being "you're too skinny" to "Krysten, you're gonna get too bulky." People kept saying that, well, if you're gonna be entering the weight room, make sure you don't look too bulky. You don't want to look like a man, you don't want to have man shoulders, and you don't want to be too buff because that doesn't look good. And again, I started to believe them. I was like, oh, maybe I am getting too big. It's not that I wasn't happy with how I looked, because I was. It was because that's what other people were telling me. They were saying that you're gonna get too bulky if you keep doing this. You should go back to doing just cardio, blah, 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 blah. Once I realized that what they were saying doesn't have to be my reality, everything shifted. I realized that people were not happy with me being too skinny. They were not happy with me lifting weights and being too bulky. And I quickly realized that, you know what, that you're not gonna make everybody happy. It's actually physically impossible. So I asked myself, what makes me happy? And how I looked after weightlifting for a few years, it made me happy. I liked what I saw in the mirror. I liked how it made me feel. It's increased an insane amount of confidence in me that I can't even describe. I stopped feeling insecure about being small-chested, which was huge. And especially with how normal it is now to get a breast augmentation, it completely shifted my mindset to the point where I'll never get one. And I'm not dogging on people who do, but by seeing what I see in the mirror and being happy with what I see in the mirror, I have no desire or need to ever get one when I used to want one desperately. So I stopped listening to how other people think that I should look and started paying attention to what made me happy with what I saw in the mirror. And once I focused on that, game changer. I've never been more confident and happy my entire life, and I am, how old am I? 27 years old. So that took 20 years? So let's say 17 years to finally look in the mirror and be happy with how I look. So that's my journey. There are a lot of girls out there who are skinny and they don't have any desire to gain weight and put on muscle. And you know what? Any of you out there, power to you. You are beautiful just the way you are. And if you're happy with what you see in the mirror, don't let anyone ever change that. That's it. The rest is history, you guys. I hope you liked this video. Thanks for watching, you guys, and I will see you in the next one.